This is my special garden. Not much to look at now, is it? Not to worry, it's always like this in early spring. Just cold, bare, dead dirt. It's hard to believe that anything could come of it. But last summer, I wish you could have seen it. Actually, I have a picture. Lovely, isn't it? So full of life and color, just like the very first garden. Way back in the very beginning, God created the whole world. It was beautiful and perfect in every way, down to the smallest detail. Then God made two people in God's own image, the very first man and the very first woman. But when people turned away from God, the world was broken. Hope seemed lost forever. In the darkness, though, a light still shone. God had a plan. A way to draw people back into relationship. A way to restore all of creation. At the perfect moment in time, God sent Jesus, God's very own Son, to take root on this earth and live among us. From a tiny baby, Jesus grew into a man. He chose common fishermen and others who were overlooked to be his closest followers. Jesus walked hundreds of miles of dirt road, teaching and healing wherever he went, showing us what God looks like. He gave sight to those who were blind, healed those with terrible skin diseases, welcomed little children. Jesus' message was simple: love God and love others. But it shook the ground of tradition, the way the Jewish people had always lived. The religious leaders were upset. They didn't see a savior king or even a prophet. They saw a troublemaker. In order to keep their own position, the religious leaders looked for ways to cut Jesus down. He was betrayed by one of his own followers, lied about, beaten. A crown of thorns was placed on his head. Jesus was sentenced to death and nailed to a rough wooden cross. Then, Jesus died. It was the darkest moment the world has ever known. One of Jesus' followers placed his body in a garden tomb. A stone was rolled over the entrance. For 3 days, it seemed that death had won. But in that cold, dark earth, God was still at work. Remember God's plan to restore all creation? It was still underway. And early on the 3rd day, God sent an angel to roll away the stone. When one of Jesus' followers came to the garden, she found the tomb empty. And when she turned, there was Jesus, alive. Through his life and death and life, Jesus has defeated death forever. Now, everyone who chooses to follow Jesus can live with him forever. And in the end, God will restore the entire world, bringing to life everything that was lost and making all things new.